Hello viewers, Super GT here. How are we all doing? Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another video. Thank you for clicking or pressing your finger on your phone or whatever you did. Okay, now this one, we're going to start at the back. At the request of another player. So, well, I'm actually lying. I'm going to start at the front, but then, well, you'll see what happens because I'm going to pull over to the left, slow right down, and let everyone go. This is basically a 2 IQ strategy, as we let every player in the lobby go flying past us, and we move down into last place. Why would you do such a thing? Well, for the memes, for the fun of it, why the hell not? So, this is Group 2 around Sardinia. It was a daily race a couple of weeks ago. It's not taken long for our first victim there to be overtaken. And another guy there going very slow. So we move up into 15th. So I made a big mistake at the start by leaving such a big gap to the pack, but by the end of the first lap I did manage to catch up, and this is where things begin to get interesting as we are on the soft tyre. I have to use the soft and the medium in this race. Jamie Jenkinson there, I'm going to go flying past him through turn 1, and the Spaniard gets absolutely dissolved into another dimension. Jamie up the inside, we're going to go for the old switcheroo on the exit and wave goodbye to him. Hopefully, we'll see. And the Spaniard, who's now in the shadow realm through the barrier of turn 1. Absolutely incredible scenes here at Sardinia. Then Mr. Jenkinson out of nowhere. And we're going to lose a position now as a result of that. A bit frustrating, but we're going to try and get it back. So the main idea here, really, of this race, of just letting everyone go, is mainly just to have a bit of fun. Mainly just see what you can do from the back of the pack. It's always a good laugh. And that's the thing we're trying to have when we're playing video games, isn't it? We're trying to have fun. And, well, this lap here hasn't been too fun, as we've lost a couple of positions. Made sure Jamie was run wide there, and hopefully now we can get away from him because he's beginning to really lose us a lot of time. So coming into the final couple of corners here, a fast sweeping sequence, then into a slower corner, and we just escaped Jamie as he actually looks for a half-hearted dive bomb there. Right, down the main straight, the French Ayrton Senna just in front of us. Potentially could have gone for a move there, but I'm going to stay behind, play it safe. We're up behind Yeast Factory, amazing stuff. Through turn 1, flying through there, looking for your braking zone. The space opens up on the outside, so we're going to go around the outside of the French Ayrton Senna, and we're going to get the job done. Getting a good exit, side-by-side drag race with the Yeast Factory, and he yields. We're going to go around the outside then and gain another position up into 11th there. I'll most certainly take that. Now up against the Spanish Armada into the final corner. 4th lap now. Let's see what happens here, as they are all going to peel off into the pit lane. Okay, fantastic. Now that's exactly what you want on a race where you're trying to fight through from the back. Of course, you are going to lose time fighting through the traffic. So if they just go into the pit lane at that exact moment, then you're going to lose less time. So good stuff there. So we've got a bit of clear air now to try to set a nice fast lap. And by the end of that lap, I caught up with the Turkish driver here, who then goes into the pit lane. So that was good as well. So not going to lose time there. Lap 6, catching up with Scouser 503. And he runs a little bit wide there through the long right-hander. So we're into the slipstream. By the end of the lap, we are first and second as everyone else has pitted, so we still have to do our pit stop. So this isn't a legit second, but we are still going to go for first here, even if it is just temporary. Go to the left, so I'm going to send up the inside, sort of releasing the brake there to get to the apex first. And we got the inside into first place. So now it's really a case of just trying to build a gap, trying to pull away from the Scouser, and build as much of a gap as possible before we go into the pit lane and do our pit stop. So into this very tricky corner. This was probably the hardest corner on the track, and I didn't really get it right many times, if at all. And we pull away from the Scouser there. getting a good exit. End of lap 7. We come in, we have to change the tyres, so we're going to go for medium. So you have to do medium soft in this race. Because I started on pole, I went for soft first, but then I went to the back, so that didn't help. But we return to the circuit in 5th here. We're coming through the first corner, we take a look back, and the cars behind are not too far behind, about 1.3 seconds behind. So I've just got through and managed to secure enough of a gap. So if I was, let's say, 1.3 seconds slower over the last couple of laps, then I'd be right in the thick of that battle behind. So just shows you that every positive action really does reward you further down the line in these types of races. And I've always found that if you have one moment towards the beginning of the race, let's say you lose a position or you lose 2 seconds in an accident, that really does have a big knock-on effect later on. So you want to try and minimise your time loss in the first part of the race. That's why I don't try and fight too hard early on. Well, you'd still overtake, but of course, not too bad. Now, these guys are fighting very much. You see, that's the top 4 fighting on the final lap. I kind of secured 5th place, and not too much was happening, apart from this. 2, the British drivers there, having a bit of an episode with each other. And I move up into 3rd, but that wasn't the most weird thing. Because we move up 2 positions there, that's good. But then if you watch the Spaniard just up in front, as the guys behind having more of a crash, the Spaniard goes into the pit lane on the last lap, and then we somehow get 2nd place. So we fought through, started first, went down to 17th, and got back to 2nd, 3 seconds away from the race win. That was a pretty decent race, I think. That was good fun. And we jumped into a 2nd race, and Mr. H. requested that we do another one from the back. I was all the more happy to oblige in this request. So once again, starting on pole, but we are going to peel to the left-hand side and do our 2IQ strategy. This is not an ideal strategy if you want to win races, but it is pretty good fun. Okay, into turn 1, I was trying to leave less of a gap this time. So we're going to speed up a bit more. I do apologise to this Austrian and the Spaniard there, as I kind of parked it on the apex, which was a bit awkward. But now we're going to be down to 17th, H. just behind. So he's the one that requested we start at the back. So let's see how we compare fighting through the pack together. And it's very interesting trying to fight through from the back, sort of as a pair. As of course I'm in front of H. If I can just try and get some cars between us, that is going to help, certainly. And there's a lot of fighting immediately ahead. A little bit further around the lap. Up behind the Austrian. Spaniard gets run wide there onto the barrier, so we're going to gain 1 position there. Now here, the space opens up on the outside. I'm surprised how early everyone brakes, and we go around the outside of 2. So we gain 2 positions there. Nicely done. Luckily here, this guy just goes invisible in time, serving that penalty. So I go through him, gain another position up into 13th, into the final corner, into the toe, and H. has actually managed to follow me through as the Spaniard ends up visiting our good friend Barry R on the outside of the corner there. Popular guy around this circuit. Okay, so H. has actually managed to follow me through, and I was kind of not surprised, but he did a good job of following me through, because I made pretty good progress on that lap, making more progress here into the braking zone of turn 1, and the Russian comes back out of nowhere. I thought I had that one covered, but clearly not. So we're going to have to back out here, and H. actually gets ahead of us. So the guy we're trying to race, well, we're trying to race everyone, but we're trying to race him through the pack. So it's been a fairly close encounter so far between the 2 of us. Into the slow hairpin. We get through there just fine. And we're going to try and get a move done on the Russian. So H. goes to the right. I'm going to try and bump draft him, slipstream bump draft. Push him through. There we go. And I can kind of just get past the Russian as well. On the brakes into this corner. I'm going to slip up the inside. Get the apex nicely. And I think I just edge him wide on the exit. And as a result of that, he's going to lose a position to the Russian again. So I've just forced him back into the pack. and he's going to get swallowed up by that Russian. If you look behind here, there, look at that time loss as a result of that fighting. So now we've got those two off of our back. We can try and focus on going forward and assessing this group just in front. So we've got a good 3 or 4 cars here in a little battle. So let's try and assess this. Charlie 8 there going defensive on the way into, I call it turn 1, it's actually turn 2. And then the Spaniard looking for a return move there, not quite happening. 3-second gap now behind. So a lot of fighting clearly going on in that group. And therefore it's good to get away from that group behind. But we do have this very big group here to try and contend with now. So on the exit of the hairpin onto the back straight, we're in a good position here. We can just kind of play this one a little bit patient. Let's just see what happens as we come down into here. A couple of Spaniards fighting quite hard. One gets run into a wall. Actually, he's not Russian. He's not. Why do I keep saying Russian? He's not Russian. He's not Spanish either. He was British. I need to learn my flags clearly. So a bit of contact here, and this is where things get a little bit weird, as the Spaniard ahead kind of just breaks rather than running it around the outside. So I get caught out there and I lose a bit of momentum. Charlie 8 on our right. We go side by side through this sequence. Bit of side by side door banging. He's up the inside, so I kind of just let him get ahead. Spaniard gets run wide. It's all kicking off here on lap number 3. Anyone going to go into the pit lane? One Spaniard in. He was on medium tyres, so he's going to go quite early onto the softs. Charlie going defensive here. And this is the thing that I'm worried about, is excessive fighting. I mean, yes, you have to fight for your positions, but I think that every time you defend, you're losing time to every other player in the race. So often I would suggest, I mean, for me personally, if someone's quicker than me, I just let them go and then just try and follow them. You're losing a lot less time that way. It is a good fight though. We'll give him that. Into the left. I'm just going to bump him slightly. We're going to get bumped from behind, but luckily it all worked out for the 3 of us. And I'm going to go down the back straight here. Looking for 6th place. Which side is he going to go? He's going to go to the right. We're going to just try and nip into the left. Don't think he's too happy about that. Are we going to be able to get ahead here? No, still side by side. Into the corner. Have to give him the space on the right hand side. And we've given each other enough space there. Good battling. We're going to have the inside for the left-hander here. So we should be able to get ahead. And we do. Good stuff. And then through the right, we do settle into single file. Moving up into 6th place. But this is where things are a little bit tricky around this circuit, because we're coming up to the main straight again. And if he's got the toe, it's going to be a very difficult move to repel, because it's such a long straight. He's going to have the slipstream. We're going to try and move away early. Is he going to go into the pit lane? Let's just take a look. Yes, he is. Okay, so we don't have to worry about defending from him. We can continue on our own. So this is a crucial phase of the race, because we're not battering anyone, but we still are racing people that aren't sort of right next to us. So once we have our pit stop, and like the first race, when I came out of the pit lane after my pit stop, it was very, very close indeed. So every lap matters. We've got a purple lap there, and then just monitoring the gap on this lap as we're in the lead by this point. There's about 10 seconds at the beginning of lap 7, still about 10 seconds at the end of lap 7. So we're doing okay on worn tyres, but we are going to bring it in to go on to the mediums for the final 5 laps of the race. Let's see where we are. Let's take stock here as we exit the pit lane. We are going to be in 8th place, and we're going to resume hostilities with Charlie as he goes back past up into 8th, so I'm back in 9th. Okay, so I'm on mediums, the worst tyre technically out of the 2, but I am on fresh tyres, that is an advantage. Now, just looking at the group ahead, this is a little bit frustrating here, because I felt like if we just work together rather than fight, we could easily catch up with that group up in front. Swiss driver here gets run quite wide, loses a couple of positions, so we're going to gain a bit of time there and a position up into 8th. So this race I think is going to be a little bit harder than the first one. More of the cars putting up much more of a fight, and it's just getting a little bit more difficult to make positions compared to that first race. But there's still 4 laps now as we begin the 9th lap, and 4th place is well within sight. So we can go one better than we did in the previous race. The Spaniard there almost into the barrier. And it's all going to kick off here as we try going up the inside. Now the Spaniard's just going to make a very, very strange error and spin himself off and visit Mr. Barry R, who again, as I said earlier, very popular guy around these parts. We move up into 8th then. So we gained one but also lost one to this Swiss driver as we lost momentum as the Spaniard spun. Down the hill, we're going to try and look for the right hand side here on the brakes, and we're going to go darting into the apex, get there first and take the position. Now we're going to try and tuck into the slipstream of Charlie just in front, move back to the racing line, and we're going to go into single file. Bit of contact there, which is a bit frustrating. And that comes at a very bad time because now Charlie has just got out of the slipstream range and that could be race defining. So that was just a frustrating moment there, just to get tapped wide slightly. You lose your slipstream, and now I'm very vulnerable to the slipstream of the cars behind. So I'm going to move to the left. Fortunately for me, the Swiss driver doesn't really take my slipstream. I'm not particularly under threat here coming through turn 1 and then going into the braking zone for turn 2. You can see the car behind, not immediately close, so no real threat unless they go for a savage dive bomb. But we're okay. We've survived that. Now, fortunately for me, the cars up in front began to fight quite a lot. As you can see, Charlie going up the inside of the Spaniard. And we're going to try and nip underneath on the way out. We're on the outside though for this left-hander. If we can run it around the outside, we might be able to... No, there's no chance of running around the outside. We're going to go for the old switcheroo. Run it around the outside here, potentially. Now, he wasn't really going to have any of that, unfortunately, even though I was completely alongside. But there you go. Into the final couple of corners. That's no problem. We can just settle in behind. We've got the slipstream coming up onto the straight. 4th place is still very close. I still worry that 4th place might escape here if we fight too much. So it's one of those things where, yes, we should fight, but also 4th place is there. We could both just get 4th rather than 5th. So let's see what we do. Through turn 1, flying through there. Is he going to defend? Yes. Keep him to the right as long as possible. Then go for the outside. Hit the brakes at the exact right space. Leave him a space on the inside, and boom. Absolute textbook move around the outside. Bit of a swerve just to celebrate that horrendously brilliant move. And we move up into 5th. So now, hopefully, we can just begin to edge our way forward and catch up with 4th. There's only 1.5 laps left, so there's not much time within which to do it. The main target, really, is to get into the slipstream by the time we get back to the main straight. And I need to go 2 tenths quicker because I'm 9 tenths behind at the moment. So if I can just gain 2 tenths on him, then jobs are good, and we have a really good chance of trying to overtake him on this final lap, which is just coming up. Last couple of corners here. He runs wide into the barrier, and I follow him in. But I think I didn't do it as bad. He hit that barrier slightly harder. Actually, he has a big moment there on the curb. Loses control of the car momentarily. And I am now within the slipstream range. So that is a crucial moment in the race. So the pendulum has swung slightly towards myself as we now exit the final corner, well within slipstream range now. So you see here, I don't follow him exactly because I want to time the momentum so that I get a good launch into turn 1. Keep him narrow, and then going in, he brakes just a bit too late, and he sends himself off. It was actually quite funny, but I feel bad for him at the same time. But he goes running wide into the wall. We go up into 4th. I actually almost caught up with 3rd here at the end of the race, but it was going to be a Spanish podium, 1, 2 and 3 for Spain. But we're going to come through in 4th in what was a decent race, and it was good fun actually. It was a good battle, and there we go. There's confirmation of the results. Now, I do hope you enjoyed this video, everyone. Thank you so much for watching and sticking through right to the very end. Have yourself a fantastic day, and yeah, I should see you all next time. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.